We need to talk about death. Not the concept of death, not the philosophy of death. Not death as a narrative device or a storytelling tool. We need to talk about death as a game mechanic, specifically in D&D 5th edition. Because there's a problem, and it's been bothering us for years. Characters don't die anymore.
I mean, they can die, technically, if you try really hard, or if the dice hate someone in particular, or if the DM is actively attempting a TPK, or I guess if the DM just decides it's time for someone to die and starts targeting the character specifically, hitting them while they're down, making sure they rack up those death saves failures. But that's not fun. That's not emergent gameplay. That's just the DM being a dick. But in a normal play, with a reasonably competent party and a DM who's not deliberately trying to murder someone, death is basically off the table. And that's a massive problem for tension, stakes, and honestly fun.
Ciao! Welcome to Cantrip.
My name is Simo.
And my name is Diego.
And before we go any further, if this kind of content is your thing, do us a solid. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit that bell.
It helps more than you think, and we genuinely appreciate it.
Alright, back to why nobody dies anymore.
Here's the 5e death system in a nutshell. You hit 0 HP, you fall unconscious. Each turn you roll a d20. 10 or higher, that's a success. 9 or lower, that's a failure. Get 3 successes, you stabilize. Get 3 failures, you die. Except those successes and failures don't reset unless you're healed or stabilized. So you've got multiple rounds to figure it out. And oh, by the way, if anyone heals you for even 1 HP, you pop right back up, full conscious, ready to keep fighting. So, what actually happens at the table? Fighter goes down. Cleric casts Healing Word as a bonus action. Fighters back up. Next turn, Fighter swings his word like nothing happened. The entire near-death experience took 6 seconds of in-game time and had 0 lasting consequences. Where is the drama? Where is the fear? Where is the "oh shit, we need to save him right now" panic that should happen when your friend is bleeding out on the ground? It's just not there. Because the system treats death like a minor setback instead of a genuine threat. And when death isn't scary, your hit points stop being a lifeline you desperately cling to. They become just another resource you manage, like spell slots or gold pieces. You know you'll probably be fine. Even if you go down, someone will pick you back up. The weight of combat, poof, evaporates.
And don't even get me started on resurrection spells. There's a great video by Zach the Bold called "The Problem with Not Dying in Dungeons & Dragons" that dives deep into this issue. Once your party hits level 5, death stops being permanent altogether. Revivify costs 300 gold and a bonus action. That's it. Your dramatic death scene undone before the body's even cold. At higher levels, you've got Raise Dead, Resurrection, through Resurrection. Death becomes a subscription service. Pay the diamond cost, wait for the cleric's turn, you're back. The most important mechanic in the game, the thing that's supposed to give everything weight, gets completely nullified by mid-tier play.
And it wasn't always like this. Go back to older editions, AD&D, 3rd edition, even the original 74 D&D, and death was brutal. In the very first version of the game, 0 HP meant you were just dead. No saves, no unconsciousness, dead.
I'm dead.
Later editions gave you a buffer. You'd go unconscious and bleed out over a few rounds, but you had to act fast, or that character was gone. There was real urgency, real stakes. Your decisions mattered because the consequences were permanent. 5e smoothed all that out, made it friendlier, easier. And yeah, that's probably better for new players and for tables that want a more heroic, less punishing experience. But for us, it's too soft.
You're too soft!
And here's the thing, this shift didn't happen in a vacuum. Somewhere between
Gary Gygax, inventor of Dungeons & Dragons,
Greetings! It's a pleasure to meet you.
Matt Mercer, between old school dungeon crawls and Critical Role, death in D&D evolved from something expected to something cinematic. In the early days, you could pull a lever, talk to the wrong NPC, and just die instantly. No dramatic music, no cheerful goodbye. You'd get a new character sheet and a pat on the back. Making an elaborate backstory was pointless because your character probably wouldn't survive the session. But now we've got templates, we've seen the emotional death scenes in Dimension 20, we've watched the sad violin moments in Critical Role. Death became this narrative climax instead of just a mechanical consequence. And that's not inherently bad. There's real weight in caring about your character, in making their death mean something. But 5e tries to have it both ways. It wants death to feel important and cinematic, but it also made the mechanics so forgiving that it almost never happens. So you get this weird disconnect where everyone's prepared for this big emotional moment that never actually comes.
When you know death is unlikely, you start playing differently. You take risks you shouldn't take. You make tactical decisions that would be suicidal if the stakes were real. Because deep down, you know the game will probably let you get away with it. So, we changed it. In our campaigns, when you hit 0 HP, you fall unconscious. Your allies have until your next turn in initiative to stabilize you. That's it. If your turn comes around and nobody's gotten to you, you're dead.
I think I'm dying.
No death saves, no safety net, no 3-round grace period. You have one initiative cycle. That's your window.
And the effect is, as on our table, is exactly what we wanted. When someone goes down, the entire party shifts gears immediately. Suddenly, stabilizing that character is the absolute top priority. The wizard who was about to fireball the enemy group, now she's dashing over to pour a healing potion down the fighter's throat. The rogue, who was setting up a sneak attack, is using the help action to stabilize. Everyone is scrambling, coordinating, burning resources, taking risks to save their friend before that initiative tracker rolls back around.
It creates tension, real tension. The kind where players are shouting across the table, "Can you get to him? How far away are you? Do you have a potion?" Because now it matters. Now your decisions have weight. Your HP isn't just a number that goes up and down. It's the thing keeping you alive. And when it hits 0, your friends have seconds to act or you're gone.
You're out.
And yep, there are edge cases. If you're disintegrated and you fail the save at 0 HP, you're ash. If you fall into lava, or off a cliff, into a bottomless pit, or into a river of acid, if there's no body left to heal, you are dead. No questions asked. That's just the reality of the situation. Some deaths are instant and final. And that's fine, that's part of the game.
But here's where it gets interesting. Because we've seen other games handle death in ways that are way more engaging than 5e's default system, and they're worth looking at if you're thinking about changing how that works at your table. Take Daggerheart, for example. In Daggerheart, when you hit 0 HP, you don't make passive death saves. Instead, you choose one of 3 cinematic options. You can go out in a blaze of glory, one final action with an automatic crit, then you're dead. You can cheat death. You survive, but you're scarred and you lose resources.
All right. We'll call it a draw.
Or you can risk it all.
All in.
You roll hope and fear dice, and if hope wins, you're saved. If fear wins, you die. All 3 options give the player agency. You're not just lying there unconscious, waiting for the GM to tell you what to do. You get to decide how your character faces death, and that makes it personal. It makes it dramatic. This isn't a system we lift wholesale for our games, but it's a proof that death mechanics can be more interesting than what 5e offers. It can create drama. It can give players choices. It can inject real fear into combat without being unfair.
The system we use is simpler, but it accomplishes the same goal. It makes death a real threat. And when death is a real threat, everything changes. Your party starts thinking tactically. They start positioning better. They start caring about their HP totals before the fight, not just during. Because they know that if someone goes down, there's no guarantee they're coming back.
That said, we understand that some players get really attached to their characters. Like, really attached. They've spent months or even years playing this person. They've developed backstories, relationships, arcs. The idea of losing that character permanently can be devastating, and honestly, that's valid. Character death should hurt, but it doesn't have to be the end of the story if you don't want it to be. You can certainly build mechanics into your world that allow for second chances while still keeping that tense and meaningful. The key is making those second chances feel earned or costly or narratively significant, not just a get out of jail free card.
In one of our past campaigns, dead characters could reincarnate into simulacra, magical constructs that let you keep playing your character. But here's the catch. As the campaign progressed, a magical infection spread through the world, and finding intact simulacra became harder and harder. The reincarnation save DC kept climbing. Eventually, death became permanent because the world itself was collapsing. Players got attached to their characters, and we gave them a way to keep playing those characters, but it didn't remove the tension. If anything, it made every death more stressful because they knew their chances of coming back were getting slimmer.
The point is, you can design around players' attachment without sacrificing stakes. You can let characters come back in ways that feel special and story-driven, rather than just casting Revivify and calling it a day. The trick is making sure that still matters, even if it's not always permanent. So, hear what we're saying. If the 5e death system works for your table, great, keep using it. But if you've been feeling like combat doesn't have enough teeth, like your players are getting too comfortable, like death is more of an inconvenience than a threat, then maybe it's time to change it. Make death scarier. Make unconsciousness more urgent. Make your players care about every hit point, every healing spell, every decision.
Try the system we use. Try something from Daggerheart or Mothership. Make up your own. Whatever you do, just make sure it fits your table and your story.
And if you've already got homebrew death mechanics you're using, or if you know other RPGs with interesting take on death that we should check out, let us know in the comments. We are always hunting for new ideas.
Experiment, adjust, make it yours.
We'll catch you in the next one.
Until next time, keep rolling.
Thanks for watching.